We are living in an era of hyperscale threats. Manual spreadsheet and reactive policies are not just low, they are a liability. Welcome to our workshop on generative AI for risk and compliance functions. We are moving beyond the hype to show you how to leverage large language models to automate cybersecurity controls mapping, streamline data protection impact assessment, and predict privacy gaps before they become breaches. Today, we are not just talking about efficiency, we are going to talk about resiliency. You will learn how to build AI driven frameworks for securing it as well as adapting it as fast as the regulatory landscape does. It's time to turn compliance from a bottleneck into your greatest competitive advantage. Let's dive in. In our presentation, uh, we are going to talk about generative artificial intelligence and risk and compliance function, and we are going to cover it in various section. There will be some overlapping segmentations also that we'll see in future. Okay, so start with the introduction of this specific section, what we are going to cover in our current slides. So uh, we are going to talk about how generative AI tools can be used for the governance, risk, and compliance function. When I talk about governance, we will talk about the policies, we will talk about drafting policies, rebuilding them, re engineer them, at the same time, analyzing the reports, log files, root cause analysis by using prompting techniques. But we are not limited to using Gen AI for this. We will also talk about securing artificial intelligence as well. And we are going to discuss on so many uh, standards and best practices available, Databricks practices and OWASP top 10 AI, OWASP agentic AI security risk that are already available online. Uh, how to use artificial intelligence for data driven decisions. We all are using Power BI, Tableau, so many tools and techniques for using our data. That can be an Excel sheet, that can be a log file, that can be a big table to understand the risk and remediation. So, how you can write better kappa? Better kappa. This kappa word comes from actually big four: corrective actions and preventive action. So we always write risk, remediation, and remark report when we do the control assessment in any data center, any cloud, or any kind of deployment. You will have so many log files with you, you will have so many user responses, and there will be multiple platform integration also. Multiple platform meant you are using RSA Archer, you are using ServiceNow, OneTrust, and there are so many other tools also available which are creating the change log files, version control files, and the service log files, which can be used in root cause analysis and other scenarios. We will discuss them. Then, how to automate your routine assessment. Routine assessments are, let me give you an example. You have ISO 27001 with defined control criteria. Let's say applicable controls are 90, and they have two kind of control. One is functional control. Let's say training has happened or not, versus second is technical control. Technical control is like encryption was available or not. How you can automate these things by using any artificial intelligence platform. Then we are going to talk about ethical AI adoption. Okay, when we talk about ethical AI adoption, uh, again we need to understand in normal deployment scenario, we already know there is DevOps and there is SecOps. In artificial intelligence, DevOps converts into MLOps and SecOps converts into DevSecOps. So we are going to use generative AI to efficient our cyber security or GRC framework, as well as how to use it to analyze our data. and how to use it for cybersecurity. So there are three different elements: deploying secure artificial intelligence model, at the same time using generative AI for analyzing your logs, your controls, to generate control effectiveness criteria, and to analyze the reports, to understand the gaps, and to generate better remediation. Okay, moving ahead. Uh, what are the core concepts? So let me start with the core concepts. Uh, we all are using generative artificial intelligence within our space, and these generative AI interfaces are specifically currently predominantly used by the mass for content development, text generation, video generation, image generation. As an example, Gemini Nano Banana can create very high definition pics. ChatGPT can also do that. We already have seen so many trends into internet. And generative AI is when you can create any new content in text format, image format, video format by using artificial intelligence. We need to understand what is large language model, a vast text database which is using tokens to generate tokens, and which can understand and generate human like text, video, or images. Then our area of coverage will be prompt engineering, and a specific way of writing instruction for artificial intelligence tool to give you desired outputs. That is prompt engineering. I will also put some channels into my description box so that you can take a full advantage of learning from these specific channels. So these are tested by me. Then fine tuning. Fine tuning is that every model is an open source model. It is already pre-trained, but you need to train your model as per your requirement. And we will use the word contextuality. Contextuality is a word in ISO 27001 that before starting uh, ISO 27001 or information security assessment, we need to start with contextualization of the organization. Is it a banking organization? Is it a retail organization? Is it a corporate uh, organization? Which kind of work it does? What are the control uh, mapping criteria? What is uh, what is the relevant control for the specific organization? As an example, if there is an retail organization and we are talking about data privacy and data protection, but obvious retail organization will have to work more on protecting the data from the retail client perspective, cause the personal identifiable information PII will get exposed and we need to safeguard that. In case of any cooperative data, there can be no personal identifiable information or there will be no natural data. So the contextuality will be different in both cases. The same applies to health and pharma companies. A banking company's control will be different than any health organization. Okay, so what are generative models now? There are text model. You can generate text, you can summarize it, you can create paraphrases, you can write different documentation using those. GPT, BERT, Llama. Image model, you can create diffusion of multiple images. You can create a new image of your image by using a source image in a high definition using prompts, stable diffusion, midjourney, DALI. There are code models which can write codes, alpha code, copilot, code llama. And there is multimodal models. Multimodal is like where there is multimodality happening, a single tool working on different facets of requirement. It can create image, it can create PowerPoint presentation, it can connect to an agent, it can work on codes, it can do everything, anything. Gemini and Cloud 3 are the example. So before moving ahead, uh, there are some more jargons which are essential terminology in field of generative AI. Tokens. Every word you are writing in a prompt is a token. Create a summary of the source attached. Every word was a token. Now the summary, when generated, was, let's say, 50 words long or 75 words long. So a approximate token for input was taken as, let's say, 7 tokens, and it generated a 75 token response. The subscription model of ChatGPT or Gemini works on million tokens per session. So you will see that when you get your subscription from Gemini, Perplexity, or other systems. Then there is transformer architecture. There is a neural network, there is an algorithm which is working behind the architecture of artificial intelligence to process sequential data. That is your transformer architecture. Hallucination. Sometimes generative AI is not giving you proper responses. Sometimes when you are running chain of command, you are writing multiple prompt in a single window or a single session, it can give you bad data, bad results, or corrupted data. So sometimes generative AI can generate incorrect or fabricated information. That is hallucination. Guardrails. Guardrails, the limitation of the AI model, the constraints, the safety mechanism. You cannot do this. You cannot abuse. You cannot create a nudity. You cannot create harmful content. The limitation which is defined by the architectural model, that is guardrails. Temperature. So this is kind of a parameter control. A parameter control is like which kind of response, which kind of IQ, EQ, or different parameters you require in your responses by using one singular prompt. So in Gemini, when you go to Vertex Lab or Jupyter Lab, there will be a temperature control, zero point 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0. These are the levels of the temperature. These temperature are actually defining randomness in the AI responses, how random your AI response will be. Then there is retrieval augmented generation, uh, combining multiple retrieval capabilities within one singular model with generative capabilities, that is RAG. So these are some basic terminologies. For better understanding, I will be giving you some links or better tutors available into these space. As current session is only limited to generative AI, its use cases into cybersecurity and GRC, we will be limiting ourselves to our domain. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about AI security, governance, and compliance. So, you can use generative AI for securing artificial intelligence or securing your organization or analyzing your threat surface or log files. At the same time, you need to secure artificial intelligence as well, because it is like an on-premise data center which is handling so much compute and infrastructure to be used for generative artificial intelligence model operations. Okay, so what you need to do? You need to start with bias mitigation. Bias can come at the time of deployment by the people who are the architects. It can come from the data quality, garbage in, garbage out. A perfect synergy is very required when you are working on new data model training. If you are giving your artificial intelligence bad data, the responses will also come as bad. That is garbage in and garbage out. So, and there can be algorithm also. There are so many mathematical calculation running behind. They are algorithm that can also create bad decision. As an example, uh, the example was given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in some conference that it was a prompt was written that you need to create an image of a person writing. That's all. 90% image were right-handed persons. It is a bias because there are left-handed person also. So the bias can come from race, ethnicity, color, and so many other elements. We need to look on that. Transparency. Transparency is how your algorithm was generated, how AI model was trained, how the output's quality was validated. These are transparency principle. Fairness. Any AI system which is working in, let's say, South Africa with the trained model data of South Africa cannot be used in India because race and ethnicity and the training environment was different. So, whenever an AI model is developed, it needs to suffice the requirement of diverse populations. Pharmaceutical model cannot be used in hospitals. Hospital model cannot be used in pharmaceuticals. They are different, although they are working in the same field. Then there is a scenario of privacy protection. Privacy, we are going to uh, take the super umbrella of GDPR in our discussions. Every workshop, we will try to take GDPR as a super umbrella when we are discussing privacy. How to safeguard the sensitive data in artificial intelligence workflows. But obvious, we will be using agentic AI, we will be using generative AI. How to safeguard the data from need to know basis, from access control protocols, by pseudonymization, encryption, and other protocols. That is privacy protection. And there are some umbrella regulatory standards that we need to follow. That is European AI Act. There is NIST's Artificial Intelligence Risk Management Framework. Big documentation, good documentation. You can read that. Then there are sector specific regulation already available. Financial services, different regulations, healthcare, critical infrastructure. And we need to look after into shadow AI. Shadow AI is, are there any unauthorized artificial intelligence uses in enterprise setting? That is always to be looked upon. Now, when we talk about AI governance, let me cover one scenario here. That AI governance starts with the same elements which are in ISO: people, process, and technology. Okay, we need to train the people how to use prompting in a better way. We are not writing bad words. We are not trying to obtain bad data. We are not trying to create malicious content. Process. Better AI tools or relevant AI tools for relevant processes. Know your customer, different tools. Onboarding, different tool. And there will be different scenarios of these processes. And that's the reason in big organizations and banks, we create our own process universe. And we generate our risk. And we generate our risk calculations into the same. I'm so sorry. So these process universe will have their own risk treatment plan, which will be generated using a risk control self-assessment. These RCSA can be from the perspective of information security, from the perspective of privacy, from perspective of models, from perspective of AI deployment. There can be different RCSA. And when you generate these things, there will be a risk reduction protocol. And you will just look upon what controls are required, what data lineage is there, which kind of application contextualities are there, which AI model is being used, plan, do, check, act, plan, do, check, act. And before deploying the data, but obvious you need to work on the data quality mechanism as well, whether the better data elements have been used for better modeling or not. So these are uh, this was a superficial overview of AI governance framework. Moving ahead, what are the key application of generative AI in risk and compliance framework? So when you talk about key application, I'm just giving you uh, some smaller micro ideas on the key application. You can start working on fraud detection using AI. You can use the data, profiling data, you can use the customer onboarding data or the transaction data. You can analyze this data on locally deployed artificial intelligence, which is trained for the same purpose, and you can look for anomaly detection. How many bad transactions have happened? How many reconciliation have not been happened? Then anti-money laundering. So Hawala and anti-money laundering can also be performed using these specific systems. KYC enhancement. We are seeing these things. KYC enhancement is like whether a person's picture was live picture or not. How to analyze that? You can use AI. You can analyze that customer verification was performed on ground or not. The element or the checklist will be whether the mobile was into the same location where the customer was standing or not, whether the eyes were blinked at the time of taking picture or not, live picture, and so many other documentation process flows. Then compliance automation, but obvious it can be done. uh, any questionnaire which is available into Excel sheet format can be automated using artificial intelligence. A workflow, a business process documentation can be created. Okay. So, what are the business impacts when you're using artificial intelligence into your cybersecurity and GRC practices? Better efficiency, better risk reduction, better RTP tracking, better log file maintenance, better control efficiency criteria generation. And you can also predict whether any data breach will happen in future or not, because you already have a historic trend data available. And you will be more aligned to regulatory requirements by using artificial intelligence and generative AI. The documentation will be better qualitative. The reason I'm saying this is that previously in traditional and legacy way, we were writing risk remark and remediation by looking into multiple websites, multiple sources, SANS top 20, OWASP top 10 kind of dictionaries. And we need to contextualize our own scenario onto risk writing as well. But right now, this can be done by artificial intelligence. And but obvious human in locus is always required for better data quality management into these scenarios. Okay. So the application can be you can create artificial intelligence regulatory chatbots. Let's say Indian data privacy law has came. You will fetch the data from Indian government. You will give the data source to artificial intelligence, and you will just request AI with a prompt that create a control efficiency criteria, create a risk and control library for better deployment of data privacy control according to Indian data privacy law. It will do that. Then it will be helpful in regulatory compliance audits. Log files can be sourced, attached to your local AI models, and it will give you better alignment results. What are the gaps? What misalignments are there? Then automated document generation. The CISO, CDO, executive summary reports and presentation can be created very fastly. Predictive analytics can be done. Uh, Contract analysis and due diligence can be done. So, as an example, sometimes regulatories come with a timeline that European standard contractual clauses. This is one clause when European data is transferring from one country to another country that needs to be legally weighted and technically corrected. So there were three controls into legal documentation: technical, organizational, and legal controls. These draftings, the legal documentation, after assessing EUSCC cross-border data transfer, can be uh, performed very easily by using generative AI. And then compliance training and simulation can also be done. You can use Gemini or Perplexity or Cloud to generate uh, assessment scenarios, spamming scenarios, which are contextualized as per your organization need. Moving ahead, we already have discussed these things, that efficiency and scalability will be increased, enhanced risk mitigation can happen, better compliance management can be done, and ethical AI adoption can also happen using generative AI. How? Better training content can be developed, better contextualized scenario simulation can be developed, bias mitigation can also be performed uh, by transparency and explainability principles, and you will get a competitive advantage in competition to your competitor. Okay, so why we are talking about generative AI in cybersecurity, and what are the scenario where AI can be affected by some specific threats? So AI has a different surface of attack, and it can be used for developing a malware which is polymorphic. A polymorphic malware is like a code which can self modify itself. It can change colors, it can change its variants, it can change its contextuality and relevancy. So traditional malwares were very simple, but generative AI can create a monster which can evolve itself as per the security contextuality of any user's system or infrastructure. That is the issue. Deepfakes. Deepfakes is a scenario where nudity or uh, facial impression into videos can be used to create misinformation, to create political stumble. That is one security scenario from AI perspective. Then phishing and spamming. Now phishing is very smart nowadays. Previously they were doing some grammatical errors, but right now AI can be used to write a phishing email, which is very attractive, and then you will require more awareness into your organization by generating better simulation on phishing using AI. So AI is what you say, it is the monster created by AI, but it is the resolution for that monster created by AI when you talk about polymorphic malware and AI powered phishing. So these are some different micro scenarios of artificial intelligence security. There are some defensive strategies as well. Uh, AI can be used for behavioral analysis of user. It can be used for adversarial training. Adversarial trainings meant simulations can be generated. Bad prompts, good prompts, bad results, good results, and effects of these bad outputs can be showcased to users and organizations. A defensive strategy is explainable AI. Why my model is validated, why it is very authentic, why the results are 99.99% quality oriented. This is a defensive strategy when we are looking and working upon artificial intelligence driven threats. Anomaly detection. Generative AI can be used for log file review to understand whether there was any insider threat into log files by looking at the anomaly. user behavior, and anomaly. Then zero trust architecture. Sometimes there are some malwares and viruses which are very new to the organization, and organization will not get any time to resolve these things. So by future predictability, AI can also be useful in that, cause root cause analysis using generative AI will not take then 3 days. It will then maybe take 3 hours, 5 hours. So it will give you better strategies and program management scenarios as well. Okay. Now here comes a scenario where we will talk about some examples of prompt engineering for cybersecurity and security. Let's say security. I have a log file available, and this log file is, let's say, 20,000 lines, 50,000 lines. And I need to quickly understand how many anomalies, how many potential security threats, and I want to automate it. I want to give a automated severity level of risk onto every row level. So I can just attach my log file into the AI tool, and I will just write a simple prompt, analyze the log entry as a test, identify potential security threats, classify the severity, and suggest immediate response action. CAPA, corrective action and preventive action, is already achieved here. Then, as an example, vulnerability detection. I have Nessus Tenable report available with me, and I want to create a CISO level executive reporting. Yes, that can be done using a simple prompt. You can use Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever you have. But I will not recommend to use enterprise log file data into cloud-based personal subscription model. You need to use your own enterprise level artificial intelligence to safeguard that data as well. It is not recommended to use your personal profiling for these data sets. Identify potential security vulnerability using the report attached, which is a Tenable Nessus report. Suggest risk, remark, and remediation. Create a table. Report generated, voila. Then, uh, when writing prompt, there is a big training available. There are three type of promptings: zero shot prompting, few shots prompting, and contextualized prompting. You will get so much data available in YouTube. I will also try to give you some links from the people who are good mentors for these prompt writing techniques. A prompt needs to be highly structured. Who, what, why, how, and which kind of results you are requiring. Role definition. You are a software engineer. You are working on a software development lifecycle. You want to secure this website as link attached. Give me a audit risk remark remediation report. Prompt written. So we have given our role, we have given our contextualization. You need to run a secure software development lifecycle assessment onto the website and give me all the weaknesses. Task specification was that. And then which output format you require? I require that in a table format. So what are the best practices while writing a prompt? Redact sensitive data. Don't use that. Anonymize that, pseudonymize that, remove that. Implement output validation. Output validation can be done in two ways. Either you put a human in locus for data quality control, or you run the validation by AI itself, whether the report is good enough or not. But still, I will say that a second eye check, third eye check from human's perspective is always required. Temperature settings can be used, cause every time a single prompt will give you different results and outputs. So while running an prompt, you change the temperatures from 0.5, 1.0, 1.5. It will give you different kind of writing style and results. You need to create a directory of prompts as well. Uh, I will say that reusability principle of the prompts. Implement prompt injection protection. Prompt injection is a malicious prompt which can enter into your root and corrupt everything. Or it is a malicious prompt which can go as an admin within your database and delete all the data. These things have happened already. And then verify the final outputs with an security expert, a person who is a CISA, CISSP, or a certified professional, that whether the risk mark remediation has been written in a better way or not. Okay, moving ahead. Now we are taking a use case of application security. You can do two kind of assessment: dynamic assessment and static assessment for software development lifecycle. That is called SAST and DAST. So I have a code file available. I have a website file available. All the codes have been written. I need to check whether there is any SQL injection chance in the code or not, whether there is a cross-site scripting in the website or not, whether there is any buffer overflow happening onto my code or not, whether there is any authentication bypass into my code or not. These are some very simple scenarios for a software developer, and he knows these things. So your generative AI tool can give you remark and remediation basis these prompts as well. By writing these prompts for code refactoring, you will get a full execution report on vulnerable patterns. How many vulnerable patterns were there in your code before deploying it? It will be security first design automatically. Privacy by design, security by design. These are the two principles that we always hear in ISO and data privacy methodologies. So you can also write a prompt that this is a specific customer website which can have retail customer or personal data. What are the remark and remediation for safeguarding private data onto my code? It can give you an optimized response how to safeguard the data. So you can use generative AI for safeguarding the personal data protection of the codes as well. Okay. So we just have seen that a software development lifecycle can also be secured using generative AI, and a risk remark remediation report can be generated. All the live examples are coming in next workshop because we need to cover OWASP top 10 artificial intelligence security issues, the risk actually. And in that session, we are going to cover these things. So AI can be used in code analysis, vulnerability detection, refactoring, and security validation. That yes, first code has been written, prompt has given you vulnerability assessment, it has given you a kappa, it has given you a risk remark remediation. You have requested AI to generate remediation code as well, and it has updated your code into a second version, which can be revalidated using artificial intelligence, that whether the code has now 99.9% security available or not, or what are the missing elements which are making your code vulnerable. Okay, moving ahead. There is a ethical development life cycle in artificial intelligence as well. So there are multiple scenario. We are not talking right now on DevOps or SecOps perspective. We are not talking on security of data center or a code which is deployed in a cloud. Now we are talking about ethical principles of artificial intelligence. What are ethical principles for artificial intelligence security? Bias mitigation, as we already discussed, race, caste, creed, color, sex. The bias cannot come from these specific things. Diverse training data representation. Even in India, There is so much diversity that Andhra Pradesh model, if any day developed, cannot be used in Jammu and Kashmir. A simplest example is a data center can be deployed in an area where a plateau is there, but cannot be deployed in an area which is flood affected or can be flood affected. Diversity of geography. Regular bias data audit needs to be happening into your system whenever you are using any artificial intelligence tool in your enterprise. How? A person for output validation needs to be deployed. He will look onto the responses that whether bias is happening or not. So, as an example, I will take a very simple example. Government needs to give a scholarship to some reserved category students. There is a criteria already defined that creamy layer cannot use the benefit. But still, as the model was trained in a way that creamy layer can use the loophole and take the benefit of these reservation benefits, he will get it. Who will check this? So the data synergy and data management protocol along with data lineage needs to be checked, and the output or the execution of that AI result needs to be validated every quarter, every 6 months, every year to understand malicious activity, fraud activities, or biased activities are not happening. Clear documentation needs to be already available. Documentation on what statistical principle is used for algorithm, chi-square, regression model, and there are so many mathematical backgrounds into artificial intelligence which comes into the domain of data scientist. So algorithm audit needs to be there, algorithm needs to be written, explainability principle needs to be there, it needs to be written how the model is validated, which kind of results are developed, how they are developed, why they are developed, and how they are not biased, and then which kind of AI outputs are generated, whether these AI outputs are qualitative or not, representing the diversity of that geography or not. Start with ethical requirements, assess the risk of artificial intelligence tool deployment within your organization, contextualize your requirements, create use cases, create a stakeholder analysis, then generate need to know basis, the hierarchy uh, for role based access control, then collect the data from ethical authorized sources, protect the personal data, identify the bias if it is happening, create fairness metrics, create algorithm metrics, create algorithm explainability documentation, and then post deployment audit, create policies, check compliances, plan, do, check, act as ISO 27001 suggests. So, what are ethical AI checklist? Fairness metrics. Outputs were fair, they were not biased. This needs to be assessed using a model or a calculation or a assessment checklist. Privacy impact assessment needs to be performed. So this is kind of thing that we can discuss here. So what is PIA? You have a project, you have a process, you have a proof of concept within your organization, and you want to assess whether lawful basis has been defined or not. Lawful basis, whether you have taken consent while utilizing this personal data, whether legitimate interest has been taken, whether this is a public profiling, whether this is a government uses or legal database, whether this is uh, a requirement from the side of regulatory. There are different lawful bases defined by GDPR. Then, record management criteria. What is record management criteria? For how much time you can store this data? Legal data, different timeline. Banking data, different timeline. Personal data, different timeline. And then there will be destruction guideline as well. So this privacy impact assessment can go up to 100 questions, and it will give you the privacy related vulnerabilities of organization, the gaps, that if you want to secure your personal data, you need to define or deploy these specific controls. Okay, so record management we have discussed, lawful basis we have discussed. There can be also whether there is any profiling happening using the tool, any project process or POC working on profiling. Then contextuality is also there. What is contextuality? Contextuality is which kind of project this is, internal, external. Then there are principle of data sovereignty and data democratization, and then cross-border data transfer. So many elements will be covered in a privacy impact assessment, and then you will understand whether the AI tool is working fine or not, whether the ethical principles have been followed or not. And how to achieve that? Explainability mechanism needs to be there for every AI model deployed, every use case of generative AI. As in our case, what is explainability principle? We are going to use enterprise artificial intelligence tool for our governance, risk and control protocol uh, optimization. That can be the explainability title, and there will be a big documentation written on it. Human oversight protocol. When the output has been generated, whether this was qualitative or not, who will check it? Who will check the prompts? That out of 100 prompts, how many malicious prompts have been written and by whom? By that, you will understand how many malicious insider threats are sitting in your organization. Continuous monitoring plan, do, check, act, and stakeholder engagement by training, simulation, awareness onto every aspect of ethics, transparency, and bias. Moving ahead, vendor landscape and ROI. So we always recommend that whenever you are trying to work on artificial intelligence, you remember our first slide. We discussed that there are different models: text model, image model, video model, code writing models. Which model fits you? What suits you? That needs to be assessed. Along with, we need to understand whether the integration capabilities are there in the proposed artificial intelligence tool or not. Integration is whether it can be integrated with your legacy tools, legacy database, your tools like RSA Archer, like ServiceNow, whether it can support better data synergy with your legacy tools, whether it can give you code writing assistance or not. So when this vendor category, we are discussing now the vendor categories. There are artificial intelligence tools available for every vendor category that I have identified here. There are security platform tools available. There are threat intelligence platforms available with AI. There are security operations center automation tools available. There are compliance solutions also available, which are using artificial intelligence, GRC platforms with AI, regulatory change monitoring platforms, audit automation tools with agentic AI. So let's say one organization which is only working on coding tools, which is only writing codes for Android application or websites or native application, it will go with the vendor which is uh, powerful into development tools and it can help an organization with secure coding assistance and vulnerability detection. Then there are different kind of models also available: enterprise models, personal models, API based services, on premise model, which are deployed on your own infrastructure, your own compute, your own graphic cards. And then there are fine tuning platforms also available, which can fine tune any open source artificial intelligence tool as per your contextuality. So, what are the evaluation criteria while you select any vendor for your organization? Integration capabilities, legacy data connected with AI. Security certification, how many security certification the AI platform is having or the vendor is having. Which kind of support and maintenance provision is there. What is the total cost of ownership? Total cost of ownership is like what monthly subscription looks like from the enterprise perspective. In India, Perplexity is free for 1 year, and but obvious from next year, this lollipop will be very costly. Whether the tool is aligned with the compliance or regulatory requirements or not. This you need to check. You can create A/B analysis. You can compare multiple vendors. You can create lease versus buy decision. You can create a decision on on-premise versus cloud subscription, and you can assess which kind of initial investment will be required, which kind of operational savings can happen, and which kind of business benefit as per your contextuality you will get from these artificial intelligence tools. Then uh, this slide is all about best practices and future outlooks. So best practices are better data quality, better artificial intelligence model training, and better outputs you will get. Always look out for GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out need not to happen. For that, data synergy needs to be maintained. One organization which is having better data governance and data management practices available, their AI model will work like a charm. Follow the ethical frameworks, explainability, transparency, and bias mitigation. Do the risk assessment quarterly, 6 monthly. Plan, do, check, act. Work on data protection. Work on robust privacy controls. Always start with proof of concept. Always discuss with every cross functional team for the contextuality of micro domain level, micro subdomain level. Continuous education, training, and awareness will always be required before deploying AI tool or before taking subscription from enterprise models. Clear governance policy. What is good, what is not, do's and don'ts. What is restricted? What are access control protocols? Who can do what with the database or AI extraction tools? Now, there are specialized models already coming. We have seen a big dictionary of the tools available on Hugging Face. And in India, I believe most of the people are aware about Meta AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude. And there are so many different tools with different niche coming by better model deployment. There are multiple agentic systems already coming. There are so many browsers already capable of doing personal level agentic works. AI governance technology is already there. There is one website which is called Sola Security. It can do these things in a click. Now, AI driven threat hunting is already a future trend. Security operations centers will be deployed with an element of artificial intelligence now, and they will be powerful enough to predict future vulnerability or future threats. And then there will be regulatory, uh, what you say, alignment with the AI as well. Every time a new regulatory change is coming, you will get better alignment of artificial intelligence tools for better outputs and operational resilience. So, this was all for today. We just have completed session, our first session on generative AI in risk and compliance function, where we have covered the elements of what is a prompt, what is generative AI, what are the use cases, how to use generative AI, how to select a vendor. In our upcoming sessions, we are going to cover generative AI for cybersecurity and GRC, as well as GRC and security controls for artificial intelligence. There will be multiple sessions coming. Please be with me. Thank you for this specific attendance. Thanks for connecting with us.